Yes, everybody, welcome back to United View. Welcome back to What the Devil episode 70-something. I'm not actually quite sure what episode it is because we've done so many of them now. But after a week off, a nice little hiatus for me personally. I was on a holiday in Spain. We're now back and it's Manchester derby soon. Transfer window still going on. Malacia still might be leaving. Andre Onana's on his way to Turkey right now. But I'm Dylan, your host as always, and I'm joined today by Marcel. He's back in the building, and Firms.
Could see a bit of the glaze there.
See a bit of the glaze?
Sun tanning.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, man, I'm feeling great.
Yeah?
I spent, 6 days on not 6 days on a jet ski, but I was jet skiing, chilling out on the balcony at the pool. Oh, it was nice to just close my laptop and get away from United for a few days. But honestly, on the plane on the way back, I was itching. I was itching to get back into this because there's been a lot. I've missed a fair amount, I think, in the last week or so, especially what I've missed out. I know it's been covered by Flex and Owen and co. But it's Andre Onana leaving United. And I feel like, I remember I was sat reading my book on the balcony in Spain, look on my phone, and it was just new tweet from Fabrizio Romano, like breaking, United accepts loan offer for Onana. And I was like, what? Because all the reports the last week beforehand had all just been saying he's staying, they're happy with 4 goalkeepers, they've got the Cameroon thing. Cameroon are going to AFCON. So when Onana's at AFCON, they need the backup and they need all this, all that. But United have seemingly gone, you know what? No. The Grimsby performance. I don't know if it's specifically the Grimsby performance, but I've read that it's that. And then also the fact that he got injured on day 2 of training. Because you remember the videos in the summer that came out that he was playing on makeshift football pitches that just looked like they were destined for injury. And then he comes back. Day 1, he was like, my hamstring feels a bit tight. Day 2, he tore it. The second day of training. Apparently Amorim looked at that and just went,
was angry.
Not having it. That's why Bayındır started. Big reason why Bayındır's been starting. And then Onana finally got a chance against Grimsby. Wow. Damn. And then, now we're here. He is gone. So...
End of an era.
Yeah, so it looks really likely that he's never going to play for the club again. So that Grimsby display is going to be Onana's last performance for United. And I think it pretty much summed him up. Summed up his time at United. But I just want to get your reaction to Andre Onana kind of pretty suddenly leaving.
2-year rule. It is the 2-year rule for Onana under the Ineos regime. They looked at him and thought, we can't go on any further. Like after that Grimsby game, right, it's like, I know Amorim really tries to protect his players out in public, but you can't help but think in the back of his mind, he's thinking, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on here? I mean, with all the goodwill in the world, if you're trying to compete with anyone, but then you've got that uncertainty in your goal, it doesn't breed any confidence throughout the team. I mean, the minute it enters your box, you're panicking. Your defence is going to be panicking. Everyone is worried. And I think Manchester United, the hierarchy, Amorim, everyone is looking at it thinking, do you know what? We've got Bayındır where there's uncertainty. We've got Onana where there's uncertainty. And we've got Heaton as well, who really and truly should be brought out in the emergency sort of settings on the bench. And we're just looking at it like, how many clubs out there, big clubs of the status of Manchester United, are in this position? This position where we've got 3 keepers where they're scratching their head thinking, So for me, they needed to act on it and act on it fast. And Onana, an opportunity arose and he's taken the opportunity to go out on loan. And look, good riddance, man. Good riddance. I mean, when he first arrived, he seemed like a guy with full confidence. He seemed like a guy, you remember when his first debut and he was shouting at Maguire saying, and everyone was like, oh yes, we finally got someone with confidence. We finally got someone that can command the area. And then as time went along, we just seemed to see a category of errors. I remember him in the pre-season getting chipped and bullied.
Halfway line. From halfway line.
From the halfway line. And I was brushing it under the carpet, I was just like, that's just, it's nothing. It's only pre-season, it's a blip. Fast forward now, what has really changed? I mean, I don't want to be totally bad with Onana's made some remarkable saves. He's had some moments where you're like, this guy is amazing.
Well, do you remember in Amorim's first game when we drew against Ipswich, Onana pulled off a couple of stunning saves?
Amazing saves, and you're looking at it like, wow, this Onana, where is it? Do you know, where is this Onana? Where's the consistency of this Onana? And you know what? When he first signed, I didn't watch much of him when he first joined. And everyone was referencing, the Inter Milan and the Champions League type of performances, but not anything outside of it from what I was hearing. And that to me, again, is probably a sign and evidence of, like, it's controlled my emotions with our new keeper. But do you know what I mean? It's that type of thing where, you know what, as it unfolded, man, the badge is heavy, man. And I think
is there an argument to be had that although he's obviously been like the creator of his own downfall in terms of the mistakes and everything, is there an argument to be had that also we never actually used him the way that we should have, in terms of, because we saw him at Inter Milan and Ajax, and he was the whole, ball at the feet, good passes and everything, whereas here at United it was almost just launch it all the time. And Onana's long range passing isn't the best, but it was like his short passing which was so good for him previously at his other clubs. And then, like, is there an argument to be said that part of the reason for Onana just completely failing at United is because he never actually used him, or is it just a case of he was a shit goalkeeper?
It kind of evolved into, because of his performances, that we had to go long all the time. And then there was obviously problems with the defensive line and, the combination of players not being able to kind of play, build up football, especially under Ten Hag early stages. But I just think, regardless of how we look at it, he's he's the reason why he's in the situation he's in. It was a difficult task to kind of follow from David De Gea and what he kind of brings, but the end of his tenure was really poor. So we thought anything could be better than this, and the direction that the club was going in, we wanted somebody with a bit more of a build-up style and someone that could, play with their feet and, make good passes through the lines. But, Onana didn't bring any sort of Inter Milan kind of form that he had, with the good passing and stuff. We didn't really, like what Firms is saying, I didn't really look into like his saving ability. I just thought that would be better. There wouldn't be as many mistakes, because David De Gea was really poor in that last season and a couple seasons before. So I'd thought to myself, well, there will be at least a step up in terms of just basic saving quality. But Onana over the last couple of years has been shocking, and consistently so. I think back to Bayern Munich, games against Brighton, Nottingham Forest. There's so many different games where you look back and he just makes calamity after calamity. It's just not been good. So I'm glad that this era's end. It's come to end of era, like what Firms is saying. But it's more of a thing of we should have maybe chosen better. I think Ten Hag, in terms of the decision, we trusted Ten Hag in the wrong ways, and that's gone with a lot of the purchases from Ten Hag. I think we should have gone for Diogo Costa, maybe.
Yeah, and he was available this summer as well, I think, Diogo Costa. But obviously, I think he stayed at Porto in the end.
Yeah.
But he was available. Obviously, we've gone for Le Mans instead. I think with the whole David De Gea, Andre Onana thing, there's a lot of people saying like, go bring back David De Gea then, or you should never let David De Gea go. I don't believe that at all. I think Andre Onana, taking David De Gea's new contract away, the way we handled it as a club was poor. I think the way we handled it, like kind of trying to get him to like take a big reduction in salary and then taking that contract off the table and putting a new one on, and it was even lower. It's like the way we handled that, I think, was wrong and disrespectful to a guy who'd played for the club for 9, 10, 12 years, whatever it was. But in the end, choosing not to continue with David De Gea and signing a new goalkeeper was 100% the correct decision. It was the right thing to do, because David De Gea was declining and declining and declining. He peaked so high, his highs were fantastic, but honestly, some of his lows maybe were even worse than what we've seen with Onana. Like they were both making such terrible mistakes. I think getting rid of De Gea was the correct decision, and then getting Onana in to replace De Gea was then the wrong one. Because I think people kind of suddenly feel that there's only two goalkeepers in the world. It's not, you should have kept De Gea, or you should bring De Gea back now because he was good before. No, find someone new.
Yeah.
It's like we've seen, let's say we got rid of Anthony, and then let's say, obviously I don't think he will, but let's say Mbumo then flopped. You're not going to turn around and go, we should have kept Anthony. Look how he's playing in Spain. No, that's not how it works. You can have the correct decision by getting rid of someone, and then just get their replacement wrong. But now, the replacement's replacement is currently Altay Bayındır in terms of first choice, but there's also now Sen Lemon, who we've signed. And we haven't done this podcast either since we signed Sen Lemon either, because even when we last recorded it was, when we last went live, We still didn't know. We didn't know if Onana was staying or going, or if we were signing Emi Martinez, or all of this, all that. It's all of it all over the place. But we now have 23-year-old Belgian goalkeeper, Sen Lemon, 18.2 million plus another like 3 million in add-ons. And I want to use this to move on to the City game. So Le Mans going to have a full week of training. So his first training session with United was on Monday when all the players came back. He'll have met a lot of his teammates. And today, I believe, is when a lot of the other teammates, the international players like Bruno, etc., will be now back in training as well. So Bayındır is going to be there. Le Mans going to be there. Amorim's got a full week to look at the 23-year-old, check him out. Do you think there's any way... And this is kind of one of the 4 like big decisions I think that Amorim has to make. Do you think there's any way that Le Mans starts against City, or is it going to be Bayındır? And if it is Bayındır, when do you think that change, or we'll finally see Le Mans play? Because we've only got Premier League games now, up until January when the FA Cup starts. So it's only Premier League, and if Altay Bayındır started our last 3 Premier League games, when is there going to be a switch?
Look, there's some. Bayındır's not someone that I want to see long term in the sticks of Manchester United, put it like that. But I do still think, I know there's an urgency and there's a rush for fans to say, look, slap Le Mans in, put him against City, it can't be any worse. Look, what blah 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 blah. What we've got. But if I'm deep in it, I'm looking at it like there is things that can be worse. There is things in a sense where if you start Le Mans in a big derby game against City's baptism of fire, you've got Haaland, the best striker on the planet right about now. He's just off the back of scoring 5 or whatever, 6 goals or whatever it was he did. Look, it could be detrimental to a young kid's confidence that's just come from Royal Antwerp, coming into a big match. I heard him talking about Manchester United and just saying, look, like everyone does, the aura, it's different. Like this Manchester United, you just feel how big it is. Like everything is changing for him. To put him in a game like that, I'm not talking about from a performance point of view, from a mental point of view, it could be massive. Like if it goes terribly wrong, he concedes 4 or 5 goals, what's that going to do for his confidence long term? Do you know what I mean? And that's what I worry about. Whereas you've got Bayındır, he's adjusted a little bit. At least with Bayındır, he knows how to he distributes at least well.
I've actually been really surprised about Bayındır's passing, actually.
You see that one to Cunha that Cunha took from
I always thought that, obviously, that like Bayındır was just kind of an average goalkeeper and Onana was the one with the good feet. But Bayındır's short passing, I think Amorim, I know, so I've heard this from a few people up in Manchester, is in terms of being a professional, Amorim loves Bayındır. Bayındır, he lives in the middle of the city, in the middle of Manchester, in a nice flat. He's always, most people have told me, he's always seen in just different coffee shops, like having a little coffee on his day off and reading a book or a newspaper. He gets in every day, works hard, and is very, very humble as a guy. And I think that's something that Amorim loves. He appreciates, in all his players, professional, humble, understanding people who aren't, I don't want to specify, but who aren't like Garnacho was, for example, etc. And so I think that's one of the reasons that Bayındır has Amorim trust at the moment, because Amorim just loves him as a professional. And I have been really surprised with his short passing. I think it's actually been quite good. But it's the same issue of...
And his long passing
like
as well.
off his line, and his long passing as well. Yeah, like you mentioned, I
see him ping it to Bruno on the wing, ping it to Cunha.
He's had some good stuff. And it's
pinpoint. And that's what I'm saying. So I do feel like there's some positive, but obviously that whole commanding of the box, set pieces, corners, you're still shaking in your boots, really.
It's not good enough. I think, and then last season, I think we saw bad distribution from Bayındır. But for me, then firms, and of course, everybody listening and Dylan, like, is Le Mans meant to be our number 1? If he's meant to be our number 1, why is he not playing? He's meant to be our...
I think he's meant to grow into it. Because this is the equivalent of signing a 23-year-old goalkeeper is like an 18, 19-year-old outfield player. Because we know that goalkeepers, they take longer to mature and stuff. Like generally goalkeepers hit good stuff later on. Right? We all know this because goalkeepers last for longer. They're kind of, their whole thing is extended. It's like buying a 19-year-old winger. Like you don't buy a 19, like, so for example, what's the bloke's name at Chelsea? Estavio. He's what, 17, 18 years old? He will hopefully grow into becoming Chelsea's like first choice right winger or whatever it is. But they're not just throwing him in immediately all the time. They're playing him and they will. But obviously, goalkeepers, you can't sub them.
But
Well,
David
you
De
can
Gea-
sub them, but you don't
David De
sub
Gea
them.
started young for us.
But then there was for ages he was swapping with Andreas Lindegaard.
Because
If
he
you
was playing,
remember.
because he was playing poorly and he was making
Yeah.
mistakes. So can't we, give him the baptism of fire against City Le Mans? I'm talking about now. If he doesn't perform well, then you swap him in for Bayındır, who's a bit shaky as well. But we know he's not going to be our number one.
I would rather see Bayındır start against City and Chelsea, and then Le Mans start against Brentford in 2 weeks. So Le Mans has 2 games with the squad, right? So he'll have 1 game away against Man City on the bench, then again on the bench at home at Old Trafford. And then his first game, I would like to see it be the Brentford away game. Because Brentford don't have Wissa and Mbumo now. Obviously, we have Mbumo. Wissa's gone to Newcastle.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, is I would like that to be his game rather
And
than...
think about...
Because Haaland just scored 5, right? Haaland just scored
crazy.
5 for Norway.
If
and 2
Bayındır
assists.
plays well,
He's
what happens then?
If he plays
If
well,
Bayındır
then...
plays well, 6.
When do we see Le Mans?
We will see. It's not
We
like
will,
he's never
we
going to
will.
play. But I think the Carabao Cup would have been amazing for Le Mans. But Andre Onana got us
Squad
knocked
killed
out
that,
with
yeah.
that.
Killed it,
So that's the end of that. But I don't want to see pressure on Le Mans because I don't think we need. If he's good enough
that's
and he proves
inevitable, though,
himself,
isn't it?
then cool.
Like, if you think about it, do you feel, right, that we bought Le Mans thinking that his current ability now far exceeds, let's say, a Martinez, who at the time it was like a pivot? Or do you feel like they bought him on the premise that what he can be is ceiling?
Well, he is because he's a young,
Exactly.
he's a young
So
player.
if you're talking about putting him in now, yeah, you may not expect those performances like what you feel like he could be in like a year, 2, 3 years time. And that's my worry. It's like, we need to have patience with this guy. But I've got a 2-year rule, it seems. I don't know if it will apply to him, but it just seems that, it's a lot.
I'm thinking, you said off air about baby David De Gea, and I'm thinking just putting him on that apprenticeship, really. Start him young, see if he can, grow into, because it's on potential. We've definitely purchased potential here. Like what Dylan's saying, and everyone would know, a goalkeeper's career is very long lasting. So it's potential that we've purchased. It's just, start him now. We're in a goalkeeper kind of crisis. Bayındır is good. I trust what you're saying in terms of being a great professional, and he seems like that. It's just he hasn't shown a significantly better level than Onana, and both of the goalkeepers have been significantly low compared to the competition. So I would like to see Le Mans start and put him on that trajectory that David De Gea was on.
I would like to see him start soon, but I just like this game. I would if I was selecting a team, I would select Bayındır because also as well Bayındır is the one who's been playing anyway. He's the one with a bit more rhythm to him, and we've seen with Cunha, we've seen with Mbumo, we've seen just like with Bruno even the first few games have looked like the players are still getting to their rhythm a little bit, and also it's just if the City game does go wrong, it just means he's not there.
Yeah,
is the other thing. I would like to see us do well with this because if it does work out long term, it's such a sick signing.
Look, this is the pressures of being at Manchester United, because now everyone wants to see the new signing in straight away, and this is the desperation of the club. This is what we're in. Like Man United want to see signings. Like when it was in Bruno and Cunha, we couldn't die for them to start immediately. That's the state of what we're in with Le Mans. We're looking at a guy from Antwerp, Belgian league, 23-year-old, 6'4", slimish. You get me? And but I just don't know if he's. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that his stats, because I've been hearing good things about
his statistics are crazy.
Go on, give us a bit of his statistics.
So the one that I remember is that he has an 84% save percentage, which is nuts.
Why are you not playing that, guys?
but at the same time, it's the Belgian league. It's just of all the games. If I was to pick any game for a goalkeeper to make his debut not even in the Premier League, in a top 5 league, I would put away at the Etihad very much towards the bottom. It's just of all the games. If it was a different game, even if it was Chelsea at home, I'd probably be saying start him Chelsea at home. It's just because it's City away. So there are a couple of super chats. Ed the Red says Marcel still wants Grimsy kicked out of the cup. But and then Super Arch says there's no easy way of get all game for Le Mans to start. Throw him in the line of fire and let him adapt and grow. This is the game. This is the game for Le Mans era to start. I get it, and I do understand. If he does start, cool. I'm excited to see him. It's just the way I feel about it is of all the games. like 1 week of training in a new club. Like, remember, like Šeško, for example, signed for United. He had a week of training, but Amorim still said the guy's still looking for a new house. He's still trying to get fit. Like Lemens didn't really play in pre-season, for example, and he missed the games from Royal Antwerp from the beginning of their season. And Amorim with Šeško was very much like, I'm not playing him immediately. With Mbeumo, when Mbeumo arrived, he didn't play Mbeumo the first 2 games in the tour, and then only played him for like a little bit against Everton. And so it's just the way Amorim has treated players who haven't been there from like day one of pre-season. Generally, Amorim's been like, I'm going to give them a little bit of time to settle. So I just feel, if Amorim feels that new signings need time to settle, playing him against City is a very unsettling thing compared to Brentford away or Chelsea at home a week later. Yeah, that's just where I see it.
No, I agree. And I think, that baby David De Gea comparisons, I mean, when David De Gea first came to Manchester United, it was all about, he's not like being commanding in the box. We wanted him to communicate. We wanted him to be able to clutch the ball out of the sky. Like, I want to see that from whoever's in the sticks with Man United. I'm always worried about a set piece or a corner coming in and our keeper fumbling it, missing the ball completely. Do you remember the games against Wolves of Onana? And I think that was his debut or one of his.
It's his debut. He just punched someone.
And he just punched someone. I don't know how. For the life of me, I don't know how that wasn't a penalty. By the way,
it was definitely a penalty.
And do you know what I mean? I just want him, like, his first action to be, if a corner does come in,
just bang,
and then the crowd gets behind him, and then that fills him with that confidence, because that's the difference with guys like this.
Is he going to be doing that against Haaland?
That's the thing. Haaland's one of the best in the air like that. He's aggressive, he's strong.
Well, to be fair, he is training against Šeško, who's probably got the biggest leap in the Prem.
Yeah, that's true.
But I want to move on to just some of the other decisions that Amorim has to make, because as I said before, I think there are 4. One is the goalkeeper, second is striker.
Yes.
Because, you kind of assume, right, Šeško's probably going to start, because Cunha's not there to play up front. If Cunha's injured, then he's not there to play up front. Mbeumo's done so well on the right. There'll be Mbeumo and Ahmed, or especially if Dallow's injured. Mbeumo and Ahmed on the right-hand side. But I was speaking with Kane the other day, the guy that I work with on District, and he made the point that United have always done really well against City when they play with a striker who drops. So, like, you think about Anthony Martial, right? When Solskjaer was just slapping Pep Guardiola around at the Etihad all the time, it was Anthony Martial dropping with Rashford and Dan James, for example, running along. And then when we beat them in the FA Cup final, it was Bruno Fernandes dropping as a false 9 with Garnacho and co running forwards. And so is there potentially the option of the game might actually suit Xerxes better than Šeško? Or will Amorim just put Šeško in because you think quick, strong, tall big in the air, and also he's played 3 games already, whereas Xerxes only come off the bench a couple of times post-injury. Marcel, I'll come to you with that.
Xerxes looked really good against Grimsby. Xerxes plays good football. I think he can also play in the 10. I just believe that, for us to win this game, which I think we will win it, I think Ruben has to make the right team selection and Xerxes has to be on the pitch. I don't know whether that's in the 10, I don't know whether that's in the 9, but in terms of what Kane's saying, it's an interesting concept because the team can utilise a 9 dropping in and then having the 2 10s run on, or your fullbacks kind of taking advantage if the defensive line push up with the 9. So I don't know, it's quite an interesting concept, but Šeško's not been able to get into the games. Whereas I think Xerxes knows all the players. I think he's got really good touch. He's really neat with the football. He's someone that I think can influence a game of football. So
he got good minutes in the international break as well, Šeško. So hopefully that helps him as well.
Yeah, he got two 90-minute
games.
Did he?
I think one of them he didn't score though.
Got an assist.
Well, he didn't score in either of them, but he did get a lovely assist. It was like the ball was over ahead of him. He jumped in the air, caught the ball in the air, turned around, and it was quite nice.
Ballerina setting.
It's exciting to know because
I think he's just waiting to kick into gear a bit.
Yeah,
so
I think he'll be a good player. It's just I need to see him, have somebody a strike partner. I want to play the 3-5-2. I would like to see somebody closer to him.
Love a 3-5-2.
Xerxes hopefully will be in the 10. I think maybe because there'll be
no
Mount.
Playing in the 10 if there's no Mount. Okay, fair enough. Firms, Xerxes or
I see Bruno going right back into the 10. If no Mount, no Cunha.
Yeah, but who we'll move on to that one. But who do you want to start striker?
A striker.
Yeah.
I think it will be Šeško. I do think it will be Šeško. I think there's a lot of pressure to get Sesko up and running as well, especially from the hierarchy. I know Amorim, I don't know what Amorim's views are with Sesko, especially when he had Mount there. I know his number one choice is Mount, but I think there's a lot of pressure for Sesko to get him fit, up and running and scoring goals for Manchester United. And I do feel like he's going to be that one starting as a striker. And against City, look, like I was saying, with the aerial presence of Haaland, you know what I mean? And the uncertainty if Lamans even plays, I feel like you're going to need someone like Sesko to be that one that provides the additional support, not only from an attacking sense, but from a defensive sense.
Box as well.
In the box, being able to protect Lamans, you know, from Haaland, being able to man mark, do you know what I mean? And mark Haaland out of the game. I think he'll play a key role, and especially, I do think as well, like from a counter-attacking perspective, because I do feel Manchester United is probably going to, you know, at the attack,
Absorb and push.
we're going to absorb and push. And I think Sesko's a person that his link-up play is really good, and he's got an engine on him. He can run. He's got speed. He's got a long stride to him. So I feel like Manchester United can hit them on a counter-attack, and I think Sesko can be that pivotal figurehead as part of that move. So look, for me, I think it's Sesko that starts, and I think it's a game that he announces himself as well. Not only is he going to start,
I do want Šeško to start, because I just want to see him play. I like when we signed him. I said, like, I've been very public in saying this. I'm unsure. I still am like unsure, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And we've seen the whole Højlund thing happen, and we're like, oh, that didn't work out. And although they are each their own player, so it's unfair to go Højlund didn't work, so Šeško won't. It's still kind of like I'm hoping that he scores soon, doesn't have the whole 14 games, Premier League games without a goal that Højlund had. But the thing you mentioned there about speed, it's one thing that I really hope that we start utilising with Šeško, which we didn't with Højlund. Everyone's forgotten that Højlund was the fastest player in our squad. The guy was, he probably still is, rapid.
You saw some of it individual
Højlund
goals.
was so quick. And Šeško is also I don't think he's as quick as Højlund, but he's still very, very quick, really long legs, he's very, like, his acceleration is, we have seen it at United a couple of times, Šeško's acceleration and movement is, he moves a lot, not necessarily the right place all the time, he moves a lot, and his acceleration is great, and I want to see more of that, and against City, as you say, might be the time that we see it. We've seen Mbeumo's clocked I think the second fastest speed in the Premier League this season, so far. And considering that Mbeumo's initially looked a bit laggy, he's back to fitness, isn't it? Yeah. He's quickly looking very, very good. No pun intended. But I want to see Šeško start, and I want to see him be able to almost like unleash his athletic abilities, because we've not really had it so far. It's always just been, he's been man marked by two centre backs, and we've tried to find him and so far failed. But then talking about that, we then also have, as you mentioned before, the issue of the left 10. So I'm going to combine kind of left 10 and midfield into like the third decision Amorim's got to make for the lineups, because it's all based on Bruno Fernandes. Would it be better if Šeško is playing up front to maybe play Xerxes on the left, Joshua Xerxes on the left of that front three, and then have Bruno and Casemiro behind, or play Bruno on the left of that front three and then Mainoo and Casemiro behind them? Because I feel like that's, if Cunha and Mount both aren't available, we'll find out tomorrow. But if they're not available, what's actually the better combination of those three? Because I feel like Casemiro's nailed on to start.
Yeah, it's
this
big game.
He's nailed on to start. So it's about where Bruno plays, and then wherever Bruno plays is then filled in by either Xerxes or Mainoo.
I think depends on Ruben's ego, because I think he's dead set on Bruno, seeing Bruno and convincing us that he's a 6 or an 8 and not a 10, especially within his system. But it's a really good point, and I think it gets Kobe into the team. Kobe's scored against City before, and I think Kobe's a really good footballer. I think everyone believes that as well. So having him on the pitch, maybe next to Cass, makes sense. Having Bruno in the 10 maybe means that we get a bit more help in the midfield areas anyway, because he roams so much. So he'll most probably try to help with counter-attacks, or, you know, helping with defensive, you know, solidity within the team and all these kind of things. And he's also a heavy chance creator. He's going to try a lot of risks and those kind of things. So when we're absorbing pressure, somebody's going to try and risk pass out to the fullbacks, out to the striker, and this kind of things. It's going to be Bruno. So it maybe suits him to play as a 10. It would, I think, you know, the idea of, like you said there, Dylan, of having Bruno as a 10 and then Kobe and Cass would be good. But then I really want to see Xerxes on the football pitch in this game. So it's a good thing that we have options and that the squad is kind of big enough that we can make replacements and change things about when the game calls for it. But again, it's for Ruben to make these decisions. And this game, I think we can win it. So he has to make the right calls, I think.
Look, I think it's going to be I don't know if Mainoo makes it into this team, like for this game. Reason being, I just feel like we're up against City. We're up against City, and I think.
But at the same time, City have been pretty poor so far this season. They're 13th, we're 9th.
Yeah,
they're below us in the table.
Trust us to be the one to hand a team the olive branch that's not been performing well, and I don't think Man United should be resting on their lot or taking anything for granted. For me, I was thinking in my mind before, I don't know if this is offline, that Bruno goes into number 10 automatically because of the injuries. But thinking about it, and I still think he does. In a normal game, I feel like Bruno, if this was another game, I feel like Bruno would have still remained as a midfielder.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Amorim sees anyone else that can get that ball from midfield and progress it to the forward line. But because we're up against City, I feel like maybe Amorim will want a bit more stability in the midfield in terms of rock solidness, and then have Bruno as a number 10, but can also add to the numbers in midfield and provide that support as well as do what he's creative in going forward.
But then the midfield 2 is then...
The midfield 2 would then be Casemiro and, Ugarte.
I don't think he trusts Ugarte. I really don't.
I think it would be a good...
Ugarte was the first man to come off against Grimsby. Ugarte came on against Arsenal and everyone was like, why? I think he might have come on against Fulham as well. But then against Grimsby, he started alongside Mainoo. Yeah. And I know we were 2-0 down, but Ugarte wasn't good.
He was rubbish.
Can I ask, who started in the last game we played? Who did Amorim field in? What was his lineup?
Bruno.
It was Casemiro and Bruno.
That's his standard kind of setup, but it would be good in terms of we're going to have to absorb a lot of
pressure.
And then
Mainoo came on at half time.
Yeah. Against Burnley.
Yeah.
And he done nothing.
He was the 10s.
No, Mainoo was good against Burnley.
You think so?
Yeah, no, he just played deeper. He was like our deepest player at points. Mainoo was coming on, collecting the ball, bringing it forwards, which is what Bruno has done previously. But Bruno was further forwards, and then Mainoo was often like in line with our centre backs, picking the ball up and moving it forward when we were trying to get that goal.
So part of the rotation of the ball and stuff. I think Kobbie's a brilliant player. I just think adding Ugarte to this situation against City will help in terms of defensive solidity.
I don't think it will.
Look, we played in the last game 0-0.
Ugarte's become way too... I remember when we played City last season, away at the Etihad, the Ahmad game, Ugarte was amazing. I remember it. Bruno afterwards came out and was like, the guy was unstoppable. It was literally what Bruno said. And I remember he was actually very good, Ugarte, but it's because he won a lot of his duels, ran a lot, and was able to sweep that back line. I've barely seen him do it since. I don't think Ugarte being a defensive midfielder, and you think, okay, a defensive midfielder would add stability, but I don't think in Ugarte specifically actually adds defensive stability to this team because he's way too erratic, and so is Casemiro. So you can have one of them be erratic alongside someone like Bruno or like Mainoo, who at least can create and keep the ball well at their feet, but having both of them being very erratic, sliding into challenges, losing duels, getting caught on the ball, will actually, I think, make us less of a stable side. Because neither of them are good with the ball close to their feet.
But he started the last 2 games against City.
Ugarte? I know. He was great in the first game, and then the other game against City was that 0-0 draw, which was just the most boring game I've ever watched in my entire life anyway. Like, just because he started before doesn't mean that he should start now.
He wouldn't be my first selection, but I can understand how it adds to the chaos and the combativeness that we need in the midfield, and then alongside.
But I don't think Ugarte actually brings that anymore. He just loses all his duels. So yeah, he can. He's a player who we hope can be combative, but when he's actually played, he's not been. Like the second goal. So his second goal and the first goal against Grimsby was Ugarte, I think, took a loose touch or something, or Mainoo did, and then Ugarte then ran into Mainoo, tackled Mainoo,
Yeah, it was
and
Ahmad.
Grimsby went
Yeah,
through.
it was Ahmad. Yeah, it was Ahmad.
Or was it Ahmad?
Yeah,
but either
Ahmad
way,
takes the loose
it was
touch and then they hit into each other.
Like Ahmad went in for a 50-50, and then Ugarte decided to also join him and took our other player out. So it's that kind of like decision making where he just seems to go, I'm gonna run into this. You don't want to do that against City, because City will take advantage, and therefore he'll actually make us less stable, I think. Whereas if you've got someone like Bruno or like Mainoo in midfield who've got the ball at their feet, will actually be more stable, because it's not like City are at their peak. So if you've got someone who can control the ball and distribute the ball, that's better than having someone who will lose all their duels.
I think it's going to be about covering ground though, because they've got 3 midfielders in there against our 2. I think the structure of our team just means that Pep's going to produce a side that's just going to overload the middle of the park. So we're going to need someone to do a lot of shuttles, I think, anyway. But I wouldn't have had Ugarte in my mind's eye as the first choice. It's a squad game, so Ruben really has to make the subs at the right times and be brave and be honest and refresh the team when it needs it. And that might see Ugarte, depending on the scenario, come onto the pitch early or later on in the game. But I would have maybe had Casemiro. He's a big game player, even though I don't think Ruben really trusts him, and I don't think he's like
I think he's nailed on to start.
Yeah, he is. With the circumstances of our squad, but long-term vision for making this squad the top level. If Ruben even survives that long, which hopefully I think he does, but I don't see Cass as a long-term kind of plans or the ideal type of player.
This is his last season.
Yeah,
it's 100% his last season.
Yeah. So for these kind of games, like you're saying, odds on, he's definitely on. But I would have maybe coupled him, in that midfield 2, the pivot 2, with somebody like Bruno going further up, Kobe.
I think
that's more patient,
Bruno's
that's
further
more
up,
calm.
I think Kobe's the best
that
option.
rotates the ball better, like you're saying, Dylan. But at the same time, 3 midfielders against 2, I need people that are gonna, hit people.
Yeah, I hear it. And then the last position I want to talk about is kind of the back line, but also more specifically the right centre-back position, because I feel like Matthias de Ligt is nailed on to start as the middle centre-back. He was dodgy in pre-season, but I think de Ligt's been... He had, towards the end of the Fulham game, he had a bit of a tough time, but I think in general, I think de Ligt's been fantastic, playing as that middle centre-back. But then Lenny Yoro's been awesome on the right, and I think Luke Shaw's been surprisingly okay on the left. But Mazwari's now come back in, and Mazwari looked fantastic against Burnley. He only played 12 minutes, but Mazwari was amazing against Burnley in the 12 minutes he played. And I would say is a better defender now and more trustworthy than Luke Shaw. So, does Amorim keep the back line that he's had so far in Yoro on the right, de Ligt on the middle, and Shaw on the left? Or does he bring out Shaw, move Yoro back to the left, where we also know Yoro's been amazing,
He's just a certain
and then play Mazwari as the right centre-back?
Now, you put Mazwari as left wing-back. If he doesn't trust...
Over Ahmad?
No, Ahmad's right wing-back.
Oh, sorry, left wing-back.
Yeah, no, Ahmad's right wing-back, and he stays there. He's going to be really effective for this kind of team, especially on the counter-charges and getting a lot of opportunities free from defenders to dribble, in those angles towards the goal. But Mazwari, like you said, has been brilliant. I don't know what type of Dorgu we have right now, or whether Ruben trusts him. But I think Luke Shaw against Haaland, from what I've used to seeing back in the day, a couple of seasons ago, was really good. And I think Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre-back is okay. He's not brilliant at attacking all the time, but he's very patient with the ball, makes the simple passes well, knows kind of what areas to be in. And then, of course, like you said, de Ligt and Yoro. Yoro's just... I'm hoping that we get to a stage where Yoro is actually the centre-back, and you've got 2 other competent, fast players either side of him that like to play through the lines, whether that ends up being Martinez when he comes back, even though he's small of stature, but replacing maybe Luke Shaw and being able to play more forward passes and being more creative from the left-sided centre-back and right-sided centre-back is very important. But Yoro's just ridiculously good footballer, I think. I really do enjoy watching him play. But Mazwari I'd like to see on the left wing-back if Dorgu's not really here.
What, as like a defensive option to allow Ahmad to maybe stay higher?
I think Mazwari can create plays. There's a really viral reel of Mazwari and Rashford linking up against Chelsea. And that's Mazwari in the final third of the football pitch, creating, passes and that kind of thing.
Mazwari, so I know this is slightly off topic, but I reckon Mazwari might be one of our best signings in the last 5 years.
I know.
Ten Hag.
Really do. Yeah, I know. It's like of all the signings.
Confidence. He just brings calmness, isn't he?
It's not actually confidence. He's just great at football.
Both.
It's like Euro. Euro is just so good at football, and that you can see it. Euro is just simply fantastic at football, and so as a centre back, he's just mint. Same with like Mbumo. You look at Mbumo, you just go, the guy just knows what to do.
Yeah.
It's just like Cunha as well. But Cunha's more of a.
He's a maverick.
Cunha's different. Cunha's different. Cunha's
He gets
a bit
in,
of a
comes
magic.
out.
He's like,
he's magic.
it's almost a bit like no one knows what Cunha's going to do because even Cunha doesn't know what he's going to do. He just decides in the moment, and his instincts. Like I think Cunha's instincts are what make him exactly who he is. Whereas with the others, they're just so technically fantastic, like just so good. And I think we've missed. Mazraoui's become a bit very, I think, like a forgotten player at the minute because he played 45 minutes against Leeds and got injured and he's not been seen since. And then suddenly 6 weeks later he turned 12 minutes against Burnley. But Mazraoui, after playing, what was it, like 55, 60 games last season, he literally signed for us and then started at right back almost immediately and just stayed in the team.
Yeah.
And then when Amorim came in, seamlessly, right centre back just there. But I think he's really been, especially for 12.9 million, just one of our best signings. I would like to see him, I think, back into the back three when we can. Honestly, my favourite back three at the moment would be Yoro on the left, Talit in the middle, and Mazraoui on the right. At the moment, until we see what state Lisandro Martinez is in, because we have no idea how Martinez is going to be after his third big injury. But that right now, with everyone fit, that's just my ideal back line.
With Mazraoui being so like adaptable, right, and so good as a natural footballer, do you feel like there's any other positions that he can play like more advanced?
No.
I feel like we had a shot at it, but did we give it
the
enough
idea
of a...
that he's one of the comments has mentioned about playing Mazraoui in midfield.
Yeah.
I'd say Ten Hag played him in the 10.
Ten Hag played him in the 10, which was mental.
Yeah.
You know how crazy that is.
Ten Hag played him in the 10.
You know how crazy that is considering that he had Ahmad on the bench and Mazraoui played in the 10.
Crazy.
Mazraoui is fantastic, but I do feel like Mazraoui, if he goes further forwards, he'll be playing with his back to goal a bit more, which is the one thing where I would be slightly hesitant, especially if Mazraoui if he's playing in midfield in a 3v2. I feel like if Mazraoui is receiving the ball with his back to goal, then being able to turn and on the half turn and get away from like a Man City press, for example, I do think that's too risky. Maybe it could work if we need an auxiliary midfielder because we have no options. Like Casemiro gets injured or Ugarte gets injured, then yeah, maybe. I'd say he'd probably be one of my preferred choices. But then if we're talking about centre-back stepping into midfield, I would rather we saw Lisandro Martinez if we had to try one, I'd rather see Martinez tried as a 6.
But Maz has got he's got the mental capability.
He's good,
but
I like Mazraoui looking out onto the pitch with it in front of him because he's got a great pass, he can dribble, he can get out of tight areas, and he's just really clever so he knows where everyone else is as well. So I want to see him at the back.
That's all the attributes of a solid 6.
No, I know that, but I would rather he be further back than the 6. Because then he can receive the ball and already be looking, rather than turning around and waiting for the goalie, having to turn and then look.
Yeah. No, I get your point. I just feel like he's such a good player to be wasted. So I'm just thinking, how do we incorporate Mazraoui? Because like you mentioned with Yoro's kind of, he had a few shaky games, but outside of that, it's just been onwards and upwards of his trajectory. And he's looking like the guy, finally, like the guy that we thought we was going to get. Yeah. And we've actually acquired a guy that is actually, the guy that Real Madrid wanted, the next big thing. He's looking like that guy. He's not a guy where we're thinking, is he going to grow into it? So for me, it's very difficult for me to be like, anyone's taken that spot of what Yoro's got, which is that, that right side. So for me...
But Yoro can do both. This is what I'm saying, is that I think he's perfectly comfortable on either side. And I would rather Mazraoui play over Shaw, is my thinking here. Unless you want to put Mazraoui on the left centre-back, which he can also do. He's played there before. Mazraoui is also very, dexterous. Is that the word? I can't.
Ambidextrous.
No, well, ambidextrous is both hands, but that's what I mean. Like he's got dexterity, I think is the word I was looking for.
Okay,
he's got dexterity across the back line. Yeah. But that's just, against City, maybe play Shaw. But if Mazraoui is fit, I would just like to see Mazraoui straight back into that team.
I wouldn't want to see him wing back though, because in terms of our width, if we are breaking out, I want fast guys bobbing down.
Who would you have in mind for wing back then on the left side?
think-
Is it Dorgu?
I want to play Dorgu on left wing back.
I think that I don't know what's happened recently. When I saw Dalot go left wing back,
It's calamity.
and I thought,
Fuck, man.
yeah, he's not good. He's not good. So if Dalot's playing, he's got to be right wing back. What does that mean for Ahmad?
But
Left wing back?
Dalot had to leave Portugal for injury, so I don't think.
I don't think he plays, yeah. But does that mean Ahmad left wing back, maybe?
I don't think Dallow's playing right. I think long term, I don't think. Like, Dallow's, I think, fallen in the pecking order. No one quite knows it yet. Like, Dallow has a big role to play. I don't see him as a starter. I see him as a squad player.
Yeah.
He's just part of the squad,
And I see
which
him,
you need.
I see him as like a centre back, right or left sided centre back, and because we've got so many options there, like you're saying, I think he's a squad player. But I think we do need pace in the team. Diego Leon, is he actually available? He's a young kid,
Yeah,
but
he's
he looks really
available, but he's
aggressive,
just-
looks really strong.
Yeah.
Does
Again,
he-
he's 18. He'll play in the 20. I think the idea would have been in the Carabao Cup is like these games, like if we got past Grimsby, where we'd have maybe drawn. I don't know who we would have drawn, but they would have been like League One, Championship teams possibly. So that would have been the idea about maybe playing like Le Mans and Lyon and etc. in these games. But now we just have one game a week, and our next 5 games are City away, Chelsea at home, Brentford away, Sunderland at home, Liverpool away.
So
Hard
lots-
games.
a lot
So like
of
Leon won't be coming on.
Mm.
Maybe he'll be coming on if we're 4-0 up in one of those games for some reason. But he's 18. It's fine. We decided not to send him on loan because we feel like he's good enough to compete with Dorgu, it seems. If he'll play in the under-21s, he'll get fit, he'll and he will get games in the second half of the season. I wouldn't worry about Leon at all.
Yeah.
He will slowly get bedded in.
I feel like we are going to need lean on Ahmad for that counter attack. I think Ahmad's going to be important for us going forward. So I think he does get minutes and I starts even. And I do think Dorgu's going to play because probably we just haven't got anyone else. It's not like I just think Mazraoui, he can fill in that position, but in terms of from a counter attack and providing width, he ain't going to do that. I think as part of the centre back, I think Mazraoui can do it either the left or the right. Because he's really good at hitting those long balls as well, Mazraoui as well. Him and Martinez has got that in their locker where they can find a runner and just ping it. So that could come in handy. It could come in handy. I do definitely think that Mazraoui gets minutes, whether he starts. I can't see it.
Who knows? But final question I'm going to ask you guys is score predictions. Score predictions for the Manchester derby.
Simple for me is 2-1 win to Man United. I think we, against Brighton, City kind of crumbled in the kind of counter-attacking side of things. Brighton had a really good counter-attack with Minter, Matoma, all these kind of really fast, quick players, and they suffered. And then against Spurs, Man City, suffered in the sense of the press, the high press. So those two aspects of football, I think we kind of have down as Manchester United, and we will be effective in those two elements and those moments in the game. 2-1.
I'm going with 2-2 to be honest. I don't see us.
I was going to say 2-2 as well.
Yeah, I don't see us only conceding one goal against City, man. I feel like defensively we've been a bit shaky, been a bit rocky as a collective. And Bayındır's always got mistake in him as well, so that's going to be one goal down as a default. Le Mans, I'm assuming that it's going to be Bayındır, by the way. If it's Le Mans, who knows? We might have a clean sheet and then go on to win 2-0, but let's see. But for Manchester United, I feel like we concede at least 2 goals, but I do feel like Manchester United is going to... City's not in the best of shape.
My vision for this game, I think it's going to be 2-2.
Yeah.
We'll open the scoring. Someone like Šeško or something, will open the scoring. Then just before half time, they'll equalise 1-1. They'll then go 2-1 up within 10 minutes of the second half. So by 55 minutes, it's 2-1. Then I think it'll be specifically Bruno will score in the second half. 70th, 75th minute, and then it'll just be a cagey last 20 minutes. Like a blow for blow last 20. The game will be chaotic. I think. I think it will be kind of chaotic. I think we'll take the lead, then go behind, then draw.
They ain't had the best form, and they've got like a whole squad worth of unknowns as well, which could go in our favour as well.
13 injuries or injury doubts.
Some of the big ones being Nori, Mamouche.
Yeah.
Phil Foden.
Cherky. Phil Foden, by the way, who scores every single time we play them.
This could be lies, I think Pep's lying. Pep lies about these things.
He lies. Pep lies about everything. I think it will be a bit disjointed and a bit mad, the game, which is good. I think that's
neutral.
but I think for us, that's good because we're away. If the game's a bit of a madness, like in just lots of shits going on, I think that's good for the away team in general, because it means there will be points where we can try and hit them. And we've got the most shots from direct attacks in the league so far this season with 8. We haven't scored any of them. And I was looking at some of the stats, and I know it's kind of, you can call it propaganda or whatever, like you're just picking out the good stats. But actually a lot of our attacking stats, like XG and all that, are all with like top or second for a lot of them. We haven't finished our chances. So if players like Cunha, or maybe not Cunha if Cunha's out, but Šeško and Bruno can actually finish their dinner, then I think we'll be in a much better place. But obviously that relies on us. It's the same issue we had last season, is no one finished their chances. You've got
people in the background, by the way.
I have no idea what Ben's doing. He's moving around behiund the camera. I don't know, singing something? I'm not sure. Yeah. Goading me. But I think 2-2. You're saying 2-2. You're saying 2-1.
Yeah.
So we're all agree we're going to score 2.
Yeah. There you go.
Or 3-2. Or 3-2 if it's a 2-2.
I think
it'll
be a good, fun, ridiculous game, and I hope it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I have an inkling that we're going to see some good stuff from United. Some dodgy moments maybe, but some good stuff.
The thing is, I think we'll get something out. I think people's written Manchester United, especially after like the recent results. Yeah, we struggled against Burnley and then Grimsby. We lost that. But I think people are writing off Manchester United and forgetting that Manchester United can actually turn it up against a bigger team. And people are not considering this being part of the 3 points that we need to get. And I think Man United can.
We need to win, by the way.
We can actually win this game. I'm being conservative right now.
If we win this game, it's sick, because we get 7, we'll jump into the top 5, top 6 possibly, and we'll sink City. They've won 3 points after 4 games. I'd love it if we won. It'd be amazing.
I don't think Ruben's done too badly against Pep as well.
We always do well. We always do well against the big teams.
Yeah.
Like generally, we've played well against big teams. It's been the small, not small, the lower half teams that we've.
And in the next 5 games, we've got 3 big games against big teams.
Look, even these lower half teams that we face now with Fulham and Burnley, it's games that we should have, like, do you know what I mean? If we had a competent goalkeeper, like, we should have won. And these are games that probably, coming off last season, is games that we could have been looking at thinking, do we even walk away with 1 point from these games?
I think against Fulham, we should have wrapped that game up early in the first half, 3-4 chances there. Arsenal, we played really well, and obviously Burnley was hard fought because of the second half and towards the end of the first half, how we conceded silly goals.
And that's why I want to see Šeško in the starting lineup, because we need something different. We need it's not a certified goal scorer, but we need Šeško to hit the ground running. We need someone that can be finishing our dinner. Because right about now we're making servings. You still got your mains on the side. You got your dessert lane over there.
Also, by the way, as well, it's we're facing either a dodgy Trafford, who's not looked great so far, or a debut Gigi Donnarumma. So I'm thinking, just shoot, man. Just pepper them with shots,
Donnarumma could have something to say.
He could, but at the same time, he's the one that Ahmad scored the lovely header over when it's first goal for the club. Donnarumma's also, I've seen him punch the ball into his own net before. Like I wasn't overly sold on signing Donnarumma when we were linked with him initially. Like I know he's been amazing in the Champions League knockout games, but I just pepper them, man. Just take shots, not just take shots from 30 yards, but like when you think, should I pass to the side or have a shot again? Just shoot. We've got shooters. We have shooters in our front line, mainly in Bumo and Šeško, but that's what I think. Just shoot. But we'll find out on Sunday.
100%.
So we'll be there's plenty of stuff coming up on United View over the next couple of days. They believe there'll be a watch along. So I was trying to find the right word. There'll be a watch along. Flex will be there, and Owen and everything. We're obviously here at 12:30. We were a bit late today, but normally 12:30 every Thursday we'll be here. Pretty sure Alice will be back next week as well. Alice Talks Footy will be back as a special guest, as she is about once a month on this show. But apart from that, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the decisions Amorim needs to make and the Onana stuff, who should be starting goal, up front, in midfield and in defence and all that. Apart from that, I will be here at 12:30 next week to react to the game and look forward to the Chelsea game. I will see you then.